Roger that.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are. So thanks for joining us for the very first time. This is our BCperoG na podcast. So wherever you are
Yes,
on the world,
Shumacher.
yan, we have like prepared some soundtracks for us today. So gracing us with their very special presence, we have some alumni from the Ateneo. So all of us are from the Ateneo, and today we're going to be talking to you about a very relevant topic to some students or even professionals, entrepreneurs, whoever you are. This topic today might be very relevant for you. So this is the life after the Ateneo or university in general, diba? So today let's get the ball rolling. We have some professionals with us. We have entrepreneurs with us as well. We have Ian, two Ians here with us. We were all actually in the same org before. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is like a big reunion for us. We're only five. We're expecting more, so let's watch out for that. I have Gino with me also. Nice to see you again, Gino. And we have
Nice to
Jabs
see
with us.
you,
Nice to meet you as well. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. So just give me an idea, like for the students like me, like what is life like, after graduating from university? And it's one of the hardest questions that you're gonna be hearing today. So what is life like after university, kaya?
Well, do you want to start sa pinakamatanda or sa pinakabata?
Sige,
You have
pinakamatanda
to
tayo,
conduct us.
pinakamatanda.
You have to conduct us.
Elders first, elders first. Yeah, so Ian
Elders first.
Sanchez. Ian Sanchez. Maybe give us an idea
Right.
of what it was like, back in the days, back in the days.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2010, right? So the world was a very different place back then, right? The scene was like all of us. So I'm an ME graduate, right? All of us were like looking at banking and like that was the rise of BPOs, right? To a lesser degree, BPOs then, right? Yung mga sunrise industries. So there was none of all these like new industries and new opportunities that's available for kids these days, right? I want to say like the students these days. I want to say na even if it's COVID, definitely I'd say that there's a lot more opportunity for you guys for the students, right? Just joining the workforce. Um, so like in a like the short version, right? Is I want to say college would really not prepare you for the whole like work experience, for the whole like internships won't even prepare you for it, right? To be honest, the only part that prepares you, right, for life after college, at least for me, is like the like how you make friends. I want to say like during college, like how you make connections and how you. I don't want to say network, right? Because like sometimes networking is a slimy word, right? But just generally like meeting people and connecting with people, right? I think that's the only take home I got. Like everything else, parang you don't really bring to ano to the outside world, I want to say, right? So
Yeah,
for me, that's the take home for me. It's like connecting with people and like your fellow students. How about the other guys?
yeah. Because you see, when you hear about business, a lot of these buzzwords come up. Parang networking, connecting with people. So these are the things that students or college before they enter the workforce. That's what they're thinking about. Mga internships, mga ganun. Pero let's take it to sometime near my generation, near to my generation. So Ian Quintin, like you just graduated when I was a freshman, actually.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what's like after college, kaya?
Um, well, for me, graduating after 3 years, 3 years na ba, 3 years na ba tayong graduate? Four na, magpo-four na. I think, very similar to what Ian Sanchez said. Ganun nga. Kasi ako, my first job was working with sales. So, I was assigned in Visayas and Mindanao. So, parang, if you think about it, parang, ako nga hindi pa ako nakapunta doon. And nung pagpunta ko doon, pagdating ko doon, I had friends na from Ateneo also, and their friends din. So parang, ang liit lang talaga ng mundo. So iniisip ko nga buti nung college, hindi ako sobrang bulakbol eh. Kasi pagdating sa work, sila pa rin pala yung mamimit ko. Na-meet ko yung parents nila, yung mga parents nila yung kadil ko. So parang, sabi ko,
Yeah.
buti na lang talaga, kaibigan ko itong mga to. Kasi kung inaway ko sila, paano pa ako makakabenta sa kanila, di ba?
Right,
So,
right. Yeah.
for me, it was just mostly enjoying and sabi nga rin ng boss ko before, si Edmund Lee in Call Financial when I was an intern, parang
Yeah.
the future you have will be what you do after work. It's not really your
Yeah.
work. So parang for me, the opportunities after Mondelez was really the things I do after work. Parang I prepared myself. I only worked for Mondelez kasi for 7 months, and then after that, I was with my dad already because my dad's business needed someone to help out. So I was fairly researching a lot already on how I'll be handling the business here and there. And ayun, I would agree with Ian na sobrang networking lang talaga.
Yeah.
Halos lang naman, di ko sasabihin wala akong natutunan sa college. Pero natuto naman ako uminom, natuto rin
Ganun talaga.
ako plus. So, for me, importante yung network. Lalo na ngayon sa small business. I keep meeting a lot of Ateneans in the workplace, a lot of batchmates in high school, reconnecting with batchmates in high school, especially since me, I'm Chinese, and a lot of businessmen are also Chinese. So I guess that's for me. Yeah.
Oh, you guys been talking a lot about connections, no? Making networks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even before graduating college, it's very important to build a big network, just so you can build connections. Yung mga sa Chinese community natin, di ba? Building the connections.
More
Small
like
community
friends.
also.
Friends lang. Oh.
Friends lang naman, di ba?
Like
Friends lang
friends
naman.
lang.
Doesn't always
Yeah.
have to be business. Doesn't always
Mhm.
have to be business. But we
Yeah.
have some empty empty management trainees who are joining us for today. So we have Gino and Chabs. Chabs, I think you're in MT for a longer time na, di ba, than Gino. Like, where
Oh,
did you? Yeah.
so I didn't do management training programs. My first
Mm.
job was a social media manager in a small, it's an online publication. So it was basically bridal stuff. And just for background reference, my course was actually AB Management Economics in Ateneo.
Same,
And,
same.
you know, just adding more context to it, even though I studied that, I did want to branch out a little farther and like lean more towards the management side. Um, but how do I explain it? So for me, I didn't feel like the structure of a bigger company was for me. I wanted to learn more from smaller businesses. I also ended up making my own business. I founded Alba Beach and Swim, which is a swimwear and sports brand now. I'm not so involved in that anymore, but I think that aside from the making connections thing that the boys mentioned earlier, it's also about um, discovering what you want outside of that box in college. So you really have the opportunity to try a lot of different things. I know that we also like what's common about us older people is that we've gone through many different jobs and gone through many different opportunities in different fields, and you just have to learn everywhere you are, because as they also mentioned, you don't get a lot of practical education in school. Take your first few jobs are really going to be a learning curve. It's not going to be comfortable, and you're definitely going to meet new people as well. People who are going to be older, your bosses, your coworkers, they're all going to be new people to you. Well, in my experience, they were all new until now. So yeah, it's just about keeping open, and the difference the difference will be very stark, but you got it.
I agree with that. That sometimes anything could happen when you graduate college.
Yeah.
Students these days, I think they have this misconception that they think the first step out of college is always corporate. Which company can I
Hmm.
work for? Right? But you can always go entrepreneurship. You can always start a business. Like anything could happen. And we have
Exactly.
Gino here. Right? We have Gino here who's also working with
Yes.
you're an MT, you're a management trainee, but I know you also have a business, right? Yeah, it's like you started this like a pizza business, if I'm not mistaken, just young. And so tell us more about that, Gino. Like, how are you working like as an MT? Plus you have a business pa. Big time si Gino dito eh.
Okay, choppy connection, sorry. But yes, Ken, I am an MT for Araneta City right now. And actually, MT was really my first choice as a job. Because I think most management students would agree with me in a sense that most of us don't really know what we want to pursue after college. Like after we graduate, we don't really know what department we want, what interests we want to pursue. And I felt like an MT program would give me the best exposure to all of the departments in a company. Since I feel like the biggest strength we have as Ateneans is that we're trained to be jack of all trades, but masters of none. Like, I'm sure almost everyone here is from some. So, management, ME, MEC. It's like none of us are really given a specialization. We're all trained in finance, in accounting, in marketing, in operations. So, we all know how to do the basics. And the beauty of that is that after college, we can choose where to specialize on our own. And I felt like the MT program would gave me a good opportunity to find what I to find what I'm most passionate about, especially the department that I want to pursue the most. And actually, right now, I'm in marketing, which is something I never thought that I'd actually like back in college. Like I only had 6 units of it, but thanks to the NT program, I got to experience what it actually is in the real world. And I felt like it's something that I could really grow with eventually. So,
But how about the business though? Diba? You also have a business right now that you
oh
started as
yeah,
well. Yeah, how's it going? Tell us more about that.
okay, so as you all know, since you're all BCG, I was actually a client of BCG before. So it was
Nice.
for a diet delivery service called Flavor Fit, which my brother started. And actually, my mom and my brother was really the one heading that one. But ever since the pandemic, no one's really been availing of diet delivery services since everyone's just at home. Everyone can make their own diet plans now. Everyone wants to know how to make cook. So it's not really in demand right now. So right now, we're focusing on frozen pizzas. It's called Just Yum.
Sarap.
So check it out if you guys have the time. So actually, it's very interesting since we noticed that right now, a lot of people are looking for extra income since a lot of people got laid off or they got no work, no pay adjustments. So there's actually a huge demand for products to be resold. And we were actually surprised a lot of our customers are resellers, not direct customers. So they're not actually looking for a product to consume, but something they could easily sell that our frozen pizzas are actually allowing them to do. So
Okay, so we want to go back to jobs actually. You mentioned a while ago that you have a business that you started with your sister, right? So I was just thinking like the crowd that we have today, like the five of us, like we were like once we thought of corporate as like our first step, but we eventually leveled up into a different direction into our career or like a professional path. So some of us here are entrepreneurs, startup makers. Diba? So Chaps, tell us more about the business. Like maybe what transitioned you from working for somebody, working professionally into a business that you started?
Okay. So the first like year after graduating was a little erratic for me. And I decided to start the business when I still was looking for a job. And eventually I realized that I was looking for jobs just because I needed a job, not because I wanted to do something in that company in line with that company's advocacy or their products. Um, so starting my own business really meant that I was working for what I believed in. So ours, like I know you guys are all boys here, but it's really about body positivity among women, creating a safe space for women, creating we started as swimsuits, and that's generally the most vulnerable moment for a girl to put on a swimsuit and go out. So we really got to forward that advocacy, and my partner, who has since started manning the business on her own, has even expanded that advocacy more, which I'm so proud of. So the transition really is, I guess I mentioned it earlier, that we're all looking for what we want to do and exploring new things. So even though I didn't get to stick with it in the end because I sorted out my priorities and decided to start helping my dad with some retail business, um, I'm so glad that I tried it, and now I can say that I do have experience running the business. And I think later on, if I do continue helping my dad with his company or moving on to another or creating another of my own, then at least I'll have that experience in my pocket.
Tama, tama. I believe in that kasi I'm an entrepreneur myself. So for the viewers out there, some of us have businesses here. Ako personally, my business is called Papa Case, so case standing for Ken. So Papa Ken's, I manufacture my own chili garlic oil. And actually, it all started because of a craving. See, it's as simple as that. Business doesn't necessarily have to be this huge, huge thing that, people can invest in, people can buy, sobrang mahal. Chili oil is just 180 per bottle, and my hashtag, my mantra is making meals more meaningful. It's as simple as that. I want to share flavor. For Gino as well, but you want to share flavor, right? So pizza, everybody loves pizza. Everybody loves chili garlic oil. But I'm also interested actually because I had this, thought process. So if I'm not gonna go for corporate anymore, do I just really stick with entrepreneurship? Do I stick with my business? I was thinking of Ian Quintin, diba? So you right now you work for your family business, you work with your dad, your family. So you work for 7 months only for Mondelez.
Mondelez, yeah, Mondelez.
Mondelez.
Ah.
Diba, why 7 months lang? As an MT, diba, didn't you have like a contract or weren't you supposed to experience like I think 2 years or 3 years with the
That's a
company?
good question, right?
Right?
Because when I was like doing like analyst
yeah,
level
yeah.
jobs, before Ian answers like real quick, I had like
Yeah.
bonds, right? You have to pay if you break your contract, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was very big back then, right?
Okay. So, yes, there's a bond. And most of the companies that you'll probably apply to are required you're required to pay. So, I think that's the thing that makes people stick. Like for me, kasi 7 months was really not enough. I was only into sales. Tapos pinadala pa ako ng Visayas and Mindanao and I wasn't able to work in the head office. So, hindi rin ako nagkaroon ng ganong feel on how's it like to work inside a corporate talaga. Kasi I only had a few bosses who worked with me, pero we were all far away. So we were working remotely separately. So in relation to that nga, parang transitioning to the business, sobrang iba. Kasi sa corporate, you're only fixed to one job. But then me transferring to the business, I was everything. So parang na-continue ko lang din yung stint ko. So I was everything. I was doing finance, HR until now, hanggang operations. So sobrang iba niya. Kasi to the bottom ng mga tao, kailangan alam mo lahat ng ginagawa nila. We're just an SME. We're not a super big farm. So the
A big time
systems,
na corporate.
mga big time na
Large scale,
corporate
diba?
na large scale hog racing, ganyan. So parang for me, you really have to know every work that they do before you create a system. Parang ganun.
Pero ano mas fun? Like, it's like
Ano mas
corporate.
fun?
Like, everything is set for you. You just
Yeah.
have to sit down sa table, and
Oh.
then you just have to do your work 8 to 5,
Yes,
and then
yes.
not to worry anything about that. They
Yeah,
pay you.
but man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but now I don't believe that that's necessarily true, right? Because number one, I don't think it's a choice, right? I don't know about
Yeah.
Chubbs, right? But maybe she can speak after, right? But for me, I don't see it as a choice. Eh.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best, I want to say the best employees are actually entrepreneurs, eh, right? And for example, there's a guy named Rex Mendoza, right? And he's like one of the board members in so many Ayala companies, right? And he has like a really good YouTube video where he describes that when how he did it, right? How he found success was he's like an employee, right? Ayala conglomerate employee, right? And but at the same time, he had some businesses, right? And basically, how he explained it was like he would tell his general managers and like his leaders, right? Na parang I'm running this on the side, right? And transparent, right? Like you don't have to be sketchy about it, right? And he does it like in his spare time and like and then the reason why he performs better is because he has that hat, Parang the reason he's a better employee, right, is because he has that parang actual entrepreneur hat, right? So for me, right, it's not necessarily a choice, right? Because for example, me, I have a day job, right, but I am partner like to many like little businesses, right? And I'm on the board of a few like startups as well, right? So I don't necessarily think that it has to be a choice, right? But I believe kasi like if you ask the world of it, like you can have it, right? You can have everything, man. Like just believe that you can have everything. I don't know about Chubbs, like how why did you make the choice, or like are you still a
Chubbs, what's your
partner
take
with the
mo?
venture? Yeah.
That's mostly just emotional. I think like if I decided to do it, I would, but I just felt like I couldn't anymore. Of course, this is a bane when you're talking about business, but I'm generally the type of person who really has to like. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I really have to like doing the work. So it could be related to the advocacy or the work itself. And I had made other career decisions. So, for example, my dad, he runs 88 Prestige, which brings in international brands. And because of my interest in fashion, and we travel a lot as a family, we'd hop onto my dad's business trips. I developed that love for that industry. I love looking at all these. It's not even luxury, but it's just bringing global excellence here, having these brands available, making them more accessible to the Philippine market. And that's what I really wanted to do in the first place for going into like social media or founding my own business. So right now I'm helping him with that. I'm doing e-com and brand, and
Yeah.
I do have a side income teaching fitness. So, a lot of work from home has also made it more difficult. So if I did add that other thing on my plate, I don't know if I could carry it as well. But it's really a personal preference. It has nothing to do with like the average outcome of people who have diverse sources of incomes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So Ian Sanchez, yun yung take niya on what the workers should be these days, diba? We have joining us actually right now is Neil Tuason. I wasn't able to work with him back in the days when he was still in Ateneo, but I got to meet him. He's a good, solid man also. Neil, we're talking about MT program right now. Actually, we're talking about careers, how you can help students actually these days with all these questions about what to pursue after career. What's your take kaya on an MT program? Or were you even able to work for a company under an MT program?
Actually, right after graduating, I went straight to work for my mom. So, family business. Or not really family business kasi parang second generation lang ako dun sa business na yun. From the get-go, I never thought of going to corporate. So actually, I'm mostly like, kung si Chabs kasi I'm not quite sure if she had an experience working for somebody, right? But I realized from the get-go that I wanted to manage my own time. And I mean, if I had the resources, like, hindi naman kami galing sa super upper class family, but parang manageable. When you do enough research, you figure out a lot of business models that actually require super low investment now. When we started Alon nga we actually just started in July. And right now, marami na kaming merchants na nakatenga. Basically, aggregator lang kami. But sobrang daming plans in the future. Parang getting into it when I was convincing my mom to like to lend me some money. Parang sabi ko sa kanya, to be honest, parang hindi naman to magagamit, most of it. Parang pang emergency expense lang namin para mag-guarantee tong business. Kasi sabi ko nga, from the get-go, ang puhunan lang namin dito laway, tsaka utak. There are a lot of things that you can do. Like, a lot of people are more skilled than they believe, than they let on. Pero, yun nga, parang, di ba, I mean, right now, nagkakaroon ng trend na minamonetize ng mga tao yung passions nila. Like, people playing video games. There's so many people ngayong quarantine na nag-stream just on the side. I think they're making money off of it. And then there's also been a trend of them na parang they run out of passion for whatever they used to do, yung hobbies nila. Kasi they started monetizing it and they don't like it being a job, right? But yeah, aside from yun, parang I think I lost my train of thought. So yeah, parang personally.
Okay lang.
Yes, I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say.
But, okay lang. I'm gonna continue from there. Yeah, I got you, pare. I think what you're trying to say is yung high income skill, diba? Monetizing your skills.
Yeah.
High income skill yan.
And I mean,
so you're still enjoying.
Diba? Exactly. Yeah. Like, parang it's more of, like, if you're resourceful enough, you can make money almost out of anything. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with social media right now. Batchmate namin ni Ian, parang she extorted money from somebody or something for a project. I'm actually quite close to that person. So parang I'm pretty sure like, hindi na siya ganun ngayon. That's why hindi na siya ganun ngayon. Parang cancel culture na naman yan. Ibang tao siya nung college eh. She's super cool. Pero
That's the
yun,
funny thing, right? Like when I was in college, there was none of this like call it cancel culture and like
Wala
there's none
pa,
of
wala
this like
pa.
social media
no.
stuff, right?
Tama,
Now you
tama.
have to understand like Facebook just became big nung like 2010, right? And that was the time we were graduating, right?
Mhm.
So
And
like
that
it was
was,
I was saying it was a very different world talaga back.
yeah.
Marami. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm super interested kasi right now, like, kasi diba, mostly small business, like, when I was in BCG, we were dealing with small businesses. 2 years straight out of college, I was dealing with something more traditional pero small business pa rin. Like super scale, parang hindi siya necessarily built to scale from the start. Right now, I've developed this company na medyo mas startup-y. I mean, of course, we're relying on a lot of hacks right now na parang we're not investing too much into technology all of a sudden. I mean, all at once, di ba? Kasi we're still trying to, pinipino pa namin. Like, if manually nagfe-fail kami, bakit namin siya i-automate kung madedefraud kami pa ulit-ulit, di ba? So, yun. And ngayon lang ako na-open up dun sa idea na, so that's how management trainings work. Like the fact na parang just the other night I was talking to Frenzo and he told me na parang siya lang yung natira out of. I want to hear from you guys. Like na parang okay, going back, sorry, naputol yung sinasabi ko. Si Frenzo parang siya lang yung nakapagpatuloy ng management training program, and the other batchmates of his didn't necessarily like drop out of the company altogether or weren't deemed to be unfit all of a sudden, pero mas nag-specialize sila or something. Parang ako kasi, like, I mean, even if it's just a small team, right now sa Allen, we're a team of 6 people. I'm seeing things a lot from the macro point of view na, even if maliit pa lang yung company. So I super interested kasi if we expand, like, diba, parang you gotta think, if you're starting from this small, you have to think na parang, when do I start getting management trainees? Are they actually necessary, especially considering high pivot yung and interested din ako marinig kung like, kasing macro nyo ako mag-isip, I don't know how to say it. So yeah. Sino pa
Yeah,
hindi
I think about
nagsasalita?
students kasi, di ba? Okay lang, pare. Di ba, these days kasi, students, di ba, their interests change all the time. So, it's either they want this, anything could happen. Eh, yung mga MT program, how long does that take? About 2 years, 3 years? Or else, if you
Yeah.
leave earlier, you have to pay for it. Eh, paano, like mid-year, what if I have like a mid-career crisis from
Yeah.
marketing? Suddenly, I wanted to shift into social enterprising. Eh, paano na yan? Di ba?
Exactly.
Eh, malugi pa ako. Di ba? I have to pay for that kasi. Eh, we have
Yeah,
Keisha
yeah.
over here. Is that how you pronounce your name? Keisha? Kesha.
Oh,
Keizha,
Keisha.
Keisha.
hello. Hi
We've never met yet
guys.
before.
Yeah,
So nice to
hello.
meet you. Nice to
Hello,
Your
meet you.
skin is
Keisha.
so
Thanks for
nice.
joining us.
Hello.
Me? My skin's nice. Sorry. Hello. But anyway, so ikaw, Keisha, you were an MT for two companies. Is that right? Two companies. So
Yeah,
si
for
Alpha
two.
Lan, tsaka si PLDT. Paano yan? How did that happen? Like, is it like a
So,
shift in career?
yeah,
Yeah.
so for Alpha Land, kasi when I started working even before graduation. So, that was a time where you really don't know what you want yet. And I was kind of starting pa lang. And you guys are talking about, I think the lock-in, right? When you do an MP program, there's automatically a lock-in. I think what was nice that what I did is I kind of negotiated that I wouldn't have a lock-in. So, but it was more of like a mistake on the company side na they forgot to make me sign a contract. So, hindi ako na-lock in. That's why I got to shift when I realized I didn't like the company. Yeah, I think I stayed in Alpha Land for about 6 months. And I didn't really like the culture, and a lot of the people were telling me to resign. So I left. And then that's when I transferred to PLDT. I didn't really start out as an MP. I started out as like a project hire, because I was kind of in a transition phase in my life. And when I transferred, one of the heads in PLDT like met me, and I guess he liked my work, and he pitched me into the management trainee program. And so that's it. And then now I'm managing our Smart and PLDT online operations.
Okay. So wait, you still work with TLDT right now? So
Yeah,
currently.
I'm still in TLDT.
Okay. Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back like all of us right now. So pag-isipan muna natin, like when we were back in college, diba? Keizha mentioned that, well, I still didn't know what I wanted out of college. So how can we help the students these days? Actually, you can help me also, diba? You can help me. Say, like a lot of seniors are going to be graduating and a recent batch has graduated without an actual graduation kasi nasa bahay lang tayong lahat. So paano yan? Like how do we focus like their thinking? Na how can we make them streamline their thought process? Na ito ang gusto ko and I'm going to decide that this is what I want. Like how do we help them think about that? Like anyone can go. Like maybe we can start with yung tatay ulit natin, si Ian Sanchez. Like yeah, back in the days.
What? What? Bakit tatay? No, but I just got married this COVID wedding. Yeah.
Congrats.
So I'm gonna do a year for that.
Wow.
I have a really good answer for this, right? Because it's typically being asked all the time. I think number one, in terms of jobs and businesses, right? The jobs and businesses for the next few years, they haven't been invented yet, right? So from an industry standpoint, it doesn't really matter, right? So meaning, when I was in college, nothing could have prepared me to work in like startups or like let's say a position in TikTok, for example, right? Parang who would have thought na parang there will be a company na parang, diba, does this, right? So from an industry standpoint, I'm just gonna say flat out, it doesn't really matter, right? So forget the industry unless you want to become like a doctor or like a firefighter, diba? So parang it's very specific, right? But there are certain things that don't change, right? So for example, selling, right? So the ability to sell, right? Ability to sell yourself, ability to sell a product, ability to sell your company, ability to sell services, right? That will not change, right? And then management, like people management, right? That will also not change, right? Like, I mean, it will change, but there will still be a need to manage people, right? If you want to take it a step further, right? Managing like type A people or like managing like really smart and excellent, like high performing people. There's a different skill set or altogether as well, right? So what am I saying? What I'm saying is you have to figure out what are those things na parang 100% will not change, right? And typically, those are parang soft skills. Those are parang skills na irrespective of industry, right? And you have to learn those things, right? It's plain as simple as that.
How about Gino? Like, how about these days naman, di ba? So back in the days, that's what Ateneo looked like, or that's what Ateneo graduates look like. Pero Gino, I was able to work with you for
Yes.
quite some time actually. Tapos we were able to we got to chat a lot. We even got to talk about life after college. I haven't graduated yet, pero I'm gonna get there soon. Ikaw, Gino, like what's it been like? Diba? Like how can you help students or like current BCGers also, people you've been working with? How can you help us zero into what we like concretely? Kasi, diba, si Ian Sanchez, he was talking about you have to really define 100% what you want or what those non-negotiables are, the things that won't change. So paano yan? Like, can you add to that pa kaya? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Actually, I completely agree with Sir Ian in the sense that at this point, I feel like the safest thing for you guys to do if you're not sure what you want to pursue after college is to develop your soft skills. Since one of the most surprising things I've learned actually working is like the hard skills that you actually need for the job can be learned while you're actually doing the job na. So it doesn't really have to come with that much preparation beforehand. The soft skills, though, it takes a while to develop. And I think that's why orgs are so important, orgs like BCG. So that's where you really develop your leadership skills, your people skills, your skill in conducting meetings, your skill in delegating tasks. So those things, no matter what industry you get put into, no matter what job, they're transferable skills. Unlike the hard skills that you focus into, if you end up not liking them, well, sayang lang siya. So that's really my short advice. Develop your soft skills first, then focus on the hard skills later.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
I
Go ahead.
think si Gino, sobrang nakalimutan niya, and he's also, this man's also shortchanging himself sa research skills niya. Nagpo-post ko yung, nakikita ko yung nagpo-post sa maraming Facebook groups looking for suppliers. As in, that's also a skill. Like, something as simple as that. I mean, for example, right now, my girlfriend is my co-founder actually for Alon, and she's a pol sci major from UP. But how the hell is she such a great marketer now na kaya niya with 300 pesos spend maka-reach ng 100,000 people on Facebook? I don't know. It's because she's great at researching. She tells me everything she knew. She knew from just from Googling stuff, from attending webinars and stuff. So parang pero merong things na parang cross field. Parang merong soft skills na nagta-transcend ng specializations. Yeah, so yun. Parang sobrang galing din ni Gino dun. And I think everybody naman nakakahon sa BCG.
Tawag dyan is also the entrepreneurial spirit, di ba? Running a business for like 9 months. I think that's one of the things that I realized, the entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, I didn't know any of the things that I'm doing right now. It all takes experience. Tama nga si Gino. Like, you won't really know completely, like 200% know what you're doing or know what it feels like unless you really put yourselves there. Baptism by fire. I mean, throw yourselves into the fire. You'll never know naman until you're there na eh. Pero I was thinking actually a while ago, like, what if I'm back to my freshman self again? So let's say I'm gonna go to President Ian Quintin. Kuya, President. Like, what if I want to pursue consulting, but my parents also trained me to be to start a business, to be an entrepreneur. Like, what do I do? Like, what's the future like? You're a senior na, diba? You're supposed to know everything. So,
Wow.
paano yan? Like,
Okay, wait lang. First of all, time check. I think we have only around 5 to 10 minutes left. So I'll
Sige.
answer your question really quick. So for me, related to your question before now, what should people think going out of college? Para for me, don't overthink it. Minsan naman kasi, for instance, pagdating sa college, you're not really in the org regarding of their core competency or kung ano mang pinaglalaban ng org na yan. You're there because of your friends. Aminin na natin. Dahil may mga kasundo kang mga friends doon. Which is going to be similar when you graduate. So for me, more on the career side, don't overthink it. Especially now na ang hirap kasi mas konti na yung choices. Compared to when we graduated 3 years ago. So just to give an idea of what I did before, my mindset before was, I didn't want to overthink it. Sabi ko, I just want to see my options first before I choose. So ang ginawa ko lang, email ako na email, tuloy-tuloy. I had this app, which I tell to other undergrads. I had this app, it's called MailTrack yata. Parang it would just send the HR an email every week at the same time, 8 a.m. para 8 a.m. ng Monday para ako'y lagi nasa taas. And hindi titigil yun hanggang hindi ako nire-replyan. So, basta makakuha ako ng reply, okay na. So, doon din dumating yung opportunity ko sa Mondelez, which is, sabi ko, if hindi pa ako nakakuha ng isang job na gusto ko, I'll just go to the family business. So for me, just don't overthink it. Weigh your choices. Okay. Look at your strengths. Okay. Pero when you go to the outside world talaga, everyone wants to be in P&G. Ang yabang eh. When you're in P&G, 80K na sahod, 100K na sahod. Sino bang ayaw nun? So for me, just apply and choose your options when it's there na. And ayun, if you're going to corporate, that's my point of view.
PNG, Unilever, mga big names
Of
na
course.
FMCG.
Laki
Yung
ng
mga big
sahod eh.
name. Oo, syempre. Diba? That's where all the mga ME wants to go after they graduate. yun ang misconception, diba?
Mhm.
Okay, so I think we have just 5 minutes left. Let's just wrap things up right now. I want to share with you guys actually, as a student naman, from a student standpoint, I just finished my internship with Geyser Maklang. If you guys have heard it, it's PR. One of the things that my boss would really teach me is in entrepreneurship or in anything that we do, there are 3 things that you have to remember. Sometimes we experience crawling, walking, tsaka running. Diba? Crawling, you're on your knees. Imagine mongo nasa sahig, tapos you have to crawl on that mat. So imagine the pains that you have to go through in business. So for our viewers who are watching with us or aspiring entrepreneurs, business is starting a business is hard. Like, just straight out there, running a business is hard, and it's gonna take a while before you're gonna get yourselves up there. But there are also days where you're gonna be walking, you're gonna have good sales, everything is going fine, and there's gonna be days where it's gonna be running. You're really gonna be, fast paced, like, wow, everything's happening so fast. Yeah. So with our, so I think let's wrap this up. We're gonna be discussing what our topic next week is. But thanks for joining us with our first ever BC, hashtag BCperoG na podcast. Sana this could be on Spotify. Yes, syempre, I wanna hear myself, wanna hear some of our friends also. Join us on Spotify. I think this will be posted on YouTube, FB, LinkedIn, para mukhang
Everywhere.
professional. Everywhere. It's gonna be everywhere. So every week, I think Ian Sanchez was thinking of topics that we can talk about. Leave a like and subscribe us. Send us an email of what topics you want to talk about. But let's hand it over back to Ian. What topics are we going to be talking about maybe for next week?
Keizha, what do you think? What should we talk about next week? Next Friday?
Wait, na put on the spot.
Yeah.
Maybe we
No,
can
pero
talk
let's
about.
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
maybe we
Go
can
ahead.
talk about, I think a lot of the students now going into graduation, or even, going into their senior year, one of their bigger challenges is, that transition between student and, becoming an actual adult or a working individual. And that's very difficult to, kind of differentiate now, especially in the pandemic, where work from home, just delineating between being a student and then becoming an adult, and at the same time, being at home and being a daughter or a son or a brother, that's kind of, I don't know, is that something you guys want to talk about? Let
Yeah,
us know
sure,
in the
of course.
comments.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's do that.
Yes.
Let
Yeah.
us know
Let's
in the
do that.
comments if you have
How to
other
run
ideas.
your
Comment
business.
down below.
Hashtag transition.
Yeah, so leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think we should be
Yeah.
talking
Hashtag
about.
BCG.
BCperoG.
All right.
Guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Sige.
All
That's
right.
a
So
good
thanks,
one.
Okay,
guys.
thank you guys.
All
Thank you
right.
Thank you.
guys.
See you next week, guys.
See you
Bye-bye.
next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.